Hey everybody, welcome to the Sharp Tongue Podcast. I'm your girl, Jessimae Peluso. I had something really funny happen. I started to record and I actually wasn't recording. That's what happened. I started to record and realized that I, in fact, wasn't recording. So we had to go back and redo the episode. Look, jet lag is real. Jet lag is real. You guys are real. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here every week. We are on our new platform at Cloud 10. Super pumped to be there and really great company. And I just feel so fortunate. We have almost over 300 episodes and over 1 million downloads, and I appreciate you guys. I couldn't do it without you. Literally couldn't do it without you. I just started this as really a labor of love, and always was told that I have, without a lack of a better term, the gift of gab. I love to talk shit, and my first episode was with my father, and we've gone in so many different areas and places with this. So I appreciate you guys sticking through, being tried and true fans. There's some OGs out there who've listened since day one. My day oneers, I appreciate you so much. And for everybody who's left a review, thank you. That's so kind of you. It's so generous for you to take time to tell me what you think of the podcast. Tell us what you think of the podcast. We read almost all of them. So go ahead. If you have time, if it's not too much to ask, leave a review, rate the pod. Tell everybody what you think about it, your favorite episodes. And if you guys have any suggestions, and also this being a Dr. Peluso episode, if you have questions you want answered, email us, jessimaepelusocomedy@gmail.com, and you can have your question or advice read on the podcast. And also, if you want to call us, give us a phone call. Leave a message, 513-916-0930. That's 513, then my birthday, 9/16, and then my dad's birthday, 0930. I requested that number because I'm an emotional being and I like everything to mean something. We give the meaning to the things in our lives. Don't you forget that. And without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. We go deep into different areas. We go deep into asking the universe for something for yourself, and we go deep into our guts. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode with the one, the only, board uncertified with a Ph.D. in THC, Dr. Peluso. Sharp Tongue Podcast. Beep, 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 beep. You're listening to the Sharp Tongue Podcast. I'm your host, Jessimae Peluso. It's a personal look. Well, it's not really a look because it's a podcast. I'm already fucking this up. This is kind of like a verbal comedy diary, a deep look into the crevices of my mind. It's gonna get dirty. You might cry. You probably laugh. Hopefully you'll laugh. The whole point is for you to laugh, but you also might cry. I talk about my family. I talk about farts. I talk about love, loss, comedy, how hard it is to make it in this biz. I'm a fucking professional. Each week it's something different. Sometimes I have a guest host. Sometimes it's going to be a movie companion episode. Sometimes I just ramble about the bullshit I dealt with the week before. You never know what you're going to get. It's raw, uncut, and funny. It's me. So, in an interesting turn of events, I've been talking to the ether and it wasn't being recorded. But luckily we didn't go too far, and I think I'm not too stoned to not remember where I was. But first things first, I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. I did mention we've been doing this podcast for 5-6 years now, and we have over 1 million downloads, and you guys have stuck through adjustments and changes and pivots, and I appreciate you guys tuning in every week. We are with Cloud 10 now, which is exciting. I'm waiting to get into the freaking studio. Very fucking patiently waiting to get into the studio. And I see Debbie, my assistant, laughing her ass off because I've been talking for 20 minutes. And it didn't record. This is why we need a fucking studio. This is why we need an office space. I can't do this shit from here no more. I'm over the COVID of it all. Okay, I'm over walking out of my bedroom, pooping, and then going 4 more feet and fucking recording in the chair that I watch Stranger Things in. Mama wants a fucking office. I want a studio. So I'm waiting for Cloud 10 to throw up some damn paint and get this shit together. Throw up some paint so I can get into the fucking studio. This delayed podcast brought to you by Zippys. Well, it's not really brought to you by Zippys. This is not a sponsor. I have to say that now. These are my favorite type of joints. We call them dog walkers in the biz. They're, I guess, Zippys to them. But they're these cutesy little teeny joints. Look at these. It's so cute. It's like a Brad Pitt of joints. It's so teensy. They're perfect for, I think, post-COVID where you don't really want to share stuff. But also, I said before, when nothing recorded, that I would prefer this anyways. I don't like getting wet blunts in the rotation. I never understood that. And whenever I smoke in a group, I always like either or I put it so I'm not touching all the stuff that's on it. But to avoid all that, I'm just like, no, I'm good. I got my own little. And then you can hand one out. You want a little scoochy one too? And we don't have to do this. We can stand in a circle, but we don't need, it's not the 70s. Let's all just enjoy our own shit. We're together. That's as together as we need to be. We don't need to be together anymore. Let's just stand in our own little circle and have our own joints, because I don't want to taste or feel your wetness, sir. It's really personal. It's a very personal situation. I also spoke about my premonitions. Okay, listen. I have had these dreams my whole life that I don't know what to do with. I don't know what they mean. And it's not like I can see the end of the world or know who you're going to marry. It's nothing like that. It's not like a knowing. Something I dream about, then in real life it occurs. And I go, oh, I know, I dreamt about that. It's usually the day after I dream. So I think what happens is I time travel in real life and hear things. Like almost like I'm in that place in Insidious. Was it the ether where all the dead ghosts go to? That's where I think I travel in that. I think I've got like frequent flyer miles in the ether. And here's a perfect example. I'm not saying I'm a witch, but I'm definitely a witch. I'm not saying I'm a witch, but I'm probably a fucking witch. Every girl thinks that she has supernatural powers. I think every girl is convinced that she is psychic. And I'm not convinced I'm psychic. I'm not saying I have superpowers. All I'm saying is this shit has happened to me my whole life. And I don't know what to make of it. And recently it's starting to happen more. And I don't know what to make of that. So here's an example. I was in Greece and I had a dream while I was there. And the dream I had while I was there was me here. So my dream was I was home at my house and I could hear my neighbor screaming out in pain and saying my name. And then I heard her boyfriend trying to help her and she was in extreme agony. That was pretty much the gist of the dream. But the dream was very realistic. It didn't feel like there wasn't any fun, gigantic kittens with rainbow colored fur. It just was me in my bed hearing my neighbor in excruciating pain. The next day I woke up and I texted my neighbor just to say hello because she's also watching Carlin, my big pit, and seeing how she's doing. And she said, oh my God, last night my appendix exploded. My appendix erupted in the middle of the night and I was in extreme pain. And I was just like, oh, like had to act shocked. Like, oh, did that happen? I know, I was here. What? So those are my dreams. Those are the types of dreams I have. It's frequent enough for me to be convinced that I am a fucking witch. Charmed season, a new season of Charmed is going to come out, a new movie. I might be the last living witch. So I don't know. Maybe that'll be the movie, The Last Living Witch, and it's not a movie. It's just my real life about me having these premonition type dreams that never really, they don't ever they're not anything that has like a lot of levity to it. You know, I wish it was something like a lotto ticket or a cancer cure or something that's like useful. No, here's another example. I had a dream one night that this is also when I was away. I think I was in California. I had a dream. And the thing is, in the dream, I'm always kind of a bystander. I'm never like involved in what's going on. I'm just witnessing what's going on. So that is even stranger. And one of my pet peeves is people telling me their dreams. I have to be honest. I fucking can't. I don't care what happened. I don't care what happened in your dream. No, by the way, FYI, nobody else fucking cares what happened in your dream. Not even your dream coach. They're faking it because you're paying them. No one cares about what happens in your dreams. So here's what happened in my one dream. I had a dream that I was at my mom's neighbor's house, and my mom and her were having dinner, and they were laughing and having a really good time and drinking wine, and it was like candlelit. It just was like this really cute dinner that my mom and her next door neighbor Kim were having. And so the next day, I call my mom in real life, and I was like, "What'd you do last night?" You guys already know what she did last night. She's like, "Oh, well, I had like this really nice semi-romantic candlelit dinner at Kim's house, and we just laughed and drank wine." I was like, "Is that what you did?" Oh, okay. I'm a ghost. Oh, I'm a witch ghost. Like, what do I do with that? So if anybody out there is hearing this and you know somebody who goes through this, please email me and tell me what the fuck I am. Am I a warlock? Email me, Jessimae Peluso comedy@gmail.com. Tell me if I'm a witch or if I should walk into the ocean to never return. I need to know that. I need to know what's going on with me. I feel like, am I 11? Stranger Things season 4. Whew. Emotional. Beautifully shot. Horror. They went into another level. The character arcs were great. They went into different character stories, and there was an episode where I was fucking bawling my eyes out. I was bawling my eyes out at Stranger Things. You gotta fucking watch it. It's so good. It's like, it's almost perfect, I think. The other thing I spoke about when I was recording, but not recording, was ever since I was a little kid, I've always been able to manifest goals or dreams into reality and out of my life. And I always used to daydream as a kid. I daydreamed a lot. I daydreamed about everything. And most of the things I daydreamed about came to fruition in my adult life, just not the exact same way that I daydreamed about them. But I always knew I wanted to be a performer. I honestly, the first thing I wanted to be was a babysitter. That dream was squashed the moment I realized children are demonic. Then my next dream was I wanted to be a radio DJ. Look, my prime years were in the 90s. DJs were hot. But I always knew I wanted to do something, and I would always daydream and just almost focus on what I wanted in a dream state. And I think that's what a lot of kids do. I think you just get into this, like, you're almost in this mentality of anything's possible. And so you imagine the greatest things. You imagine things that adults don't even think about because we aren't burdened or weighed down by the reality of life, and we haven't been humbled, and we haven't been told no as much yet. So I always had this ability to just daydream things into reality. And it's almost like I knew what I wanted to do, and I never had a plan B. But I always manifested, and even as an adult, I manifest things. I manifested this show that I just shot with Netflix. I manifested things that I would realize in that month while I was gone. Manifested this office space that Deb and I looked at and we're going to take for Sharp Tongue Inc. All these goals that I've wanted to achieve, I've always envisioned them and made a request to the universe for them. And that brings me to my other point. A lot of us ask the universe or life or God or whatever, what have you, for things. We make requests for things. And a lot of times we get disappointed or let down when what we've requested doesn't manifest in the way we imagined. Well, that comes down to one thing. You're not making specific requests. If you're going to ask something from the universe, you have to be specific. You can't ask the universe for something in a vague way because you're going to get a vague result. You can't go to the universe, I just want someone. Are you sure? Are you sure, bitch? You just want someone, not the one? You better ask for the one, because if you ask for someone, you're going to get a lesson and not a blessing. That is just what I've experienced in my life. You're not going to get the thing that you really want. You're going to get something to teach you to be more specific. So the next time you ask for a very specific thing, you don't go, I want some money. You go, I want $1 million. The specificity of your request is what will guarantee you a result that's more specific in life. You have to be more specific. You can't just go, oh, I want someone. Bitch, you're going to get someone. And it's going to be somebody who's addicted to Oxy, who's really good at putting bidets in. But that has an expiration point. That has an expiration point. You can't ask for someone, something. Okay, this isn't a Disney movie. This is real life. And it's ironic that I'm telling you something to do in real life by making a request to the universe, which sounds really woo-woo, but I'm here to tell you this shit works. Manifestation works. And it's not some mystical, invisible force. It's about putting something out there, expressing it, stating it, because then you're putting and programming your mind to focus on this specific thing. And you start to move in a fashion to create the outcome. Maybe there's some magic. I like to believe in magic, but I also am a firm believer in affirmations. I'm a firm believer in your own constitution, and I'm a firm believer in your own commitment and ability to be responsible and take accountability for your own actions, because your actions are going to be the thing that leads you to outcomes. So that's one of my points for you guys is if you make a request from the universe, make that shit specific, because if not, it will be a completely different outcome for you. And when the timing is right, I will reveal what requests I made and what those outcomes were. But it's early. It's too early. You guys can't handle it. Side note, before we started recording, when I thought we were recording, I was very excited to share the fact that I'm drinking crunchy water. Because a lot of you, when I'm drinking or smoking something, you're like, oh, what's she drinking? What's she smoking? This is crunchy water, aka Topo Chico. I fucking love Topo Chico. And this is what it sounds like. It's delicious. It is muy delicious. I think we recuperated. Oh, no, wait. There's one topic. We did not recuperate from when I was recording and not recording. This is evidence A. Evidence A. I watched a movie. And it struck a nerve. I watched a movie and it really fucking struck a nerve with me. And that movie is Lost City. This is a spoiler alert. But what they did to Brad Pitt was fucking wrong. It was wrong on a personal level. It was wrong on a cinematic level. And it was wrong on a vaginal level. It was wrong on all the levels. I haven't recuperated. I don't know if I will make a full fucking recuperation. I don't know if I will be recovered ever. I felt the same way I felt watching what they did to Brad as they do to every fucking dog in every movie ever made. Rude. How dare you? Rude. That is my husband, and you don't do that to that face. You don't do that to Brad Pitt. God damn it. You don't fucking do that to Brad Pitt. I remember this falling off before, so I had to reenact it. Don't you do that. You don't do daddy bratty like that. It's rude. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, Lost City. Okay? Yeah. Channing Tatum has a nice, those lines, those things that it looks like it was carved. Sure, those are cute. Okay? But he doesn't have the legacy and just staying power of Mr. Brad Pitt. Okay? So throw Channing off the damn mountain, not my husband. And Sandra Bullock did look fantastic. I did mention that before. She looked fucking fantastic. Magenta's her color. I love her. I love how goofy she is. She's a comedic genius. She's fantastic. Great. We love her. How you gonna do Daddy Bratty like that? So I'm boycotting Lost City. Shutting it down. Okay? Now I think I've covered all the topics that we lost in the fire. Things we lost in the fire. There's a movie coming out that is based off of a book, one of my mother's favorite books, and it's called Where the Crawdaddies Sing. And I haven't read this book yet, but because they're making it into a movie, and anytime that happens where they turn a book into a movie, I will either have read the book, because I'm a nerd, or I will rush and read the book so that I can watch the movie, because I love doing that, even though the movie's never as good as the book. So this is going to be one of those instances where I am going to rush to read Where the Crawdaddies Sing, because I think it comes out in like 3 weeks. Actually, June 24th, I think. So, fuck! I better get fire insurance in my office. Just burn my kneecap with my joint. Okay, guys, this is a Dr. Peluso episode. We are going to get into these questions. If you're like, what the F is a Dr. Peluso episode? Well, look, health insurance is expensive. And let me tell you, trying to make an appointment in LA to get some health care is ridiculous. I made a boob exam appointment. They're like, we can see you in 2024. And I was like, one of my boobs will probably be exploded by then. So I know that the struggle is real. I know getting access to healthcare is hard. I am not a healthcare professional. I am not a real doctor. I am a doctor from the streets, from life, from experience. This is a Dr. Peluso episode where we give advice based off of the questions you guys submit. You can email those questions if you want. If you're not on Instagram or Facebook, you can go to jessimaepelusocomedy@gmail.com, email those questions. Or if you want to be a part of the community, you can go to my Instagram page on Sundays or Mondays on my Instagram story. And there will be a slide that says Ask Dr. P Anything, and you could submit your question there as well. And without further ado, let's get into these questions. So we've got a couple questions we got into before I realized we weren't recording. We're going to re-answer those questions. Michael, my OG fan, asked, let's open a weed shop in Thailand. They just legalized it. I am here for that. I think getting in at the ground level is key. The California market is flooded. That's probably bad wording to use for Thailand because of that tsunami, but RIP, I really think that this is a fantastic idea. My only concern is it's going to end up being like that movie, The Beach, with Leonardo DiCaprio, where all the white people come and ruin it and put Starbucks up and organic artisanal hummus stations. So we better get in soon is all I'm saying. If we want to open up a cannabis shop in Thailand, I'm all here for it. We just need to leave like yesterday. Seriously. The Real Hyman one. Can we ever share a smoke session remote like Zoom? This was a funny one because we do those. I said do. We do those. Weeds Day. We haven't done them in a while. My schedule and travel has made Weeds Day a little bit difficult, but we've done Weeds Day for years on Wednesdays where we smoke some weed. I answer your questions. We get silly, act like children, and just make fun of life and everybody. So we'll have to do one of those probably next week, but you can join us. It's on Instagram Live. And we raise awareness and charity for Alzheimer's disease. So check it out. We'll have to bring it back. Michael is back. I have to mention this one again. If I organize a bangin' trip for Team Perloff this winter to Thailand, will you hire me on as a 46-year-old intern? And I said, hire an intern or oxymoronic. Interns work for free, Michael. So you got to be specific. Do you want to be hired or do you want to be an intern? This is an instance where you ask the universe for a very specific outcome. But I would love to take Team Perloff to Thailand. We are known as Team Perloff because I did a gig at the Wiltern last year. The first time and the last time that I officially met Bob Saget and got to work with him. It was me, Bob Saget, Bill Burr, Eric Griffin, and John Stites, who put it on for Operation Comedy, which raises funds for military families and members of the military. And on the marquee, it was Bob Saget, Bill Burr, and Jessimae Perloff. And it's never going to be anything but that. That's my name. That's going to go on my office door. Perloff Enterprises. Oh, man, you get humbled at every turn in this fucking career. Axel Rose Tov says, got to do a podcast with Joe Rogan again. Yes, I do. It's only been about a year since I've been on his podcast, but his podcast is so influential that I like to have some time between episodes that I do with him to have something new to talk about, new experiences to share. And so him and I have time to miss each other and have like a really interesting, fun, silly conversation like we normally do. But also it's nice to bring a project or something you're working on to promote, because his platform's huge. And that's why he has his friends on to help promote and grow their own individual careers. So I'm going to be waiting for that. I'll wait for the Netflix show to come out, for the couple other projects that we're working on underneath to be ready to be promoted. But I agree. I had so much fun on the podcast. B-Web Cam, when are you going to host another show? You were so great on Tattoo Redo. That's why I was in Greece hosting a show for Netflix. I can't really say what it is. I'm bound by contract and I had to sign an NDA, but I am hosting another show that will be out probably next year. There's a lot of post editing that needs to happen, but I love Tattoo Redo as well and made some really good friends from that show. But yeah, thanks for being interested in seeing this facha on another show. So it will be soon. It probably won't air till 2023. That's the thing. When you see people who are on press junkets promoting something, it's a project they shot a year or two prior. Even movies, when they actually go out and promote the movie, they're on like 2 or 3 projects deep beyond that movie or show that they did. It's so strange. Axel Rose is back. How did you like Greece? You were only a few kilometers away from my home in Corinth. I thought it said kittens, but it did say kilometers. And I made the joke, like, how old is the system where you're measuring shit in kittens? But how cute would that be? I would be measuring things all the time if it were measured in kittens. And I would only measure a foot because I just would keep playing with the one kitten and it would crawl away. And I'd be like, this is 1 foot and this is still 1 foot. Greece was amazing. It's very Greek, which is what you want when you travel. You want to be immersed in a culture. You know, traveling to bigger cities like London and New York is amazing. I lived in New York for about 10 years, but when you travel there, you feel like you have this access to a multitude of cultures and it feels like a melting pot. But when you go, is my dog knocking on the door? Can you stop? Stop knocking. That's weird. My dogs are knocking on the door. I had to put them away because they'll be up my dick. I've been gone and they are like my little shadows. But Greece is very Greek. Like, you're not getting a lot of different types of cuisine, but luckily the Mediterranean cuisine is so delicious, and we drank rosé every day. Every day we drank rosé. God bless. This is the one thing that I learned about myself in Greece. I'm kind of a stickler when it comes to health and nutrition, and sometimes I can be a little too strict with myself and I never count calories. I eat whatever the fuck I want because I poop a lot, but I'm specific about what I eat and where it's from and how much sugar I'm consuming. When I was in Greece, I kind of just let myself flow a little bit more, and I was so much happier. I was so much happier just kind of having a little bit more of a balance and weaving in and out of being strict and dedicated and just trying desserts here and there. Not like a full fucking cake, but half a fucking cake. And it just it felt calmer for me to not be considering, okay, well, if I eat this amount of sugar, then it's going to do this to my brain. If it does that to my brain, well, I'm going to be foggy tomorrow. And blah, blah. Oh, fuck. Just shut up and put it in your face. I know Dr. Daniel Amen would not agree, but this is what I did for the month and it worked for me. Let's see. Troy Green 632. How are you feeling today? That's a really nice question. I'm going to check in with myself. I feel centered. I feel myself. Like I feel light and present and goofy and somewhat rested. This is a really good question, by the way. Instead of just saying hi to your friends when you text your friends, if you text them and say, how does it feel to be you today? Or how are you feeling today? It opens up a conversation where they feel safe to say, I'm feeling great, or actually I could use some help. So good on ya. Troy Green. Demon Motu 41. Wow. I've been super constipated lately. Haven't been able to drop a deuce. What should I be stuffing down my throat? I think that's what it says. It gets cut off there. Well, first of all, if you're really constipated, one of the first things is probably dehydration. You might not have enough water in your diet. And also, it's not just about water. It's about you need to be hydrated, and not that water isn't hydrating. You need electrolytes, and just plain water doesn't necessarily have electrolytes. You need to just sprinkle a little bit of salt in your water so you actually can retain the hydration in your body. Don't be afraid of salt. Add a little bit of salt to your water. It helps me. You'll feel more hydrated. You'll be drinking less water because you're going to be retaining more of the hydration you put into your body. Secondly, what the fuck are you eating? Are you eating processed stuff? Are you eating a ton of cheese? Oh God, I fucking love cheese. Fuck, I love cheese. They've got this dessert in Greece where they set cheese on fire. It's not a dessert, but it should be a dessert. Actually, they do have a cheese dessert in Greece, and it's like phyllo dough and feta, and they set it on fire, and they put honey on it. And then I put it inside my pussy and feed it to everybody. Talk about pussy. I am concerned about what you're eating. Your diet and your hydration, right off the bat, you got to get that shit in check. And then one of the best things you can do for constipation is movement. Hello, bowel movement. Well, sometimes you need to be moving yourself to kick your bowel movement into gear. Have you been living a sedentary life? Have you been sitting in the same position? Are you getting out and visiting with your friends and being social? Like, you need to move more. You got to move more and get some hydration, eat better, and have some butt sex. That'll get it moving real fast. Blakey Sherms, 5465. How are the tortas in Greece? You know what? I've gone to Baja Fresh a couple times, and they still have yet to put the torta back on the fucking menu. And I'm not saying I'm not going to eat there again, because their Wahoo Ono Baja burrito, it's a mouthful in more ways than one. Go to Baja Fresh, get the Wahoo Ono, which is a fish. Get the Wahoo Ono Baja burrito and fucking thank me later. It is one of my favorite things to put in my face. And prior to that, my favorite thing to eat at Baja Fresh was a fucking torta sandwich. And Blake Sherman knows, and he's doing this on purpose, that I have a real second to what they did to Brad Pitt in Lost City is what Baja Fresh did to the fucking tortas on their menu. I am not here for it. I don't stand for it. It's anti-American. It's fucking rude. Oh, you're just going to make something so delicious and nutritious, and I put it in my mouth, and my body's like, this is my new food, best friend, and then you're going to fucking take it away from me? Scarcity is the mother of all invention. Well, when the tortas are scarce, I'm going to invent a fucking knuckle sandwich to bring to Baja Fresh and punch the day manager with. Rom Birkin. Any relation to the shoes? Tattoo Redo Season 2. Again, I think I've mentioned it before. They've decided to not renew Tattoo Redo. And that was a decision that I had nothing to do with. And as much as I would have loved to do that show again, sometimes you've got to do the project, learn what you can learn, make the friendships you can make, forge the friendships you can make, and move on. And that was that with Tattoo Redo. Maybe it'll show up someplace else. I hope so. I really do. I learned a lot. That show was really difficult for me because, I was losing my mom. 2 days into filming, I got a call from my sister saying, well, are you ready for another parental death? My mom was sick. And so that filming was a real crash course for me in many different realms of my life. In one way, it taught me almost subconsciously compartmentalization of trauma and grief, and just how resilient we are and how resilient our brains can be, how much of a subconscious system there is in the terms of survival mode. Because my body and my being knew I had to show up for the show, knew I had to perform, knew I had a job to do, but I was also faced with losing my mother, but I was able to be present enough to get the job done. And the other thing I learned was the value of relationships and friendships. My makeup artist, Nia Joy, who's been doing my makeup since I moved to LA in like 2014, and she's a dear friend of mine. She was in Greece with me on this shoot. She was there with me during Tattoo Redo, and she lost her mother to cancer when she was 17. So she had this connection with this loss and was able to be there for me in a way that I don't think any of my other friends could have, because none of them have lost a parent yet, let alone their mother. So I don't believe in accidents. I don't think everything's predestined, but I do believe in there being some synchronicities that exist in this magical life. And I do believe that if we're open, we can see the blessings that are in front of us and be grateful for these scenarios, like my makeup artist who lost a mom being there for me, doing my makeup on a show I'm trying to hold it together for while I'm losing my mom. The other thing I learned filming that show was really how to maintain a professional posture. And I guess it's kind of like the accumulation of the other two lessons that I've learned, but it's just how to maintain a professional posture when your world is crumbling. And also basically what I'm saying is you never know the struggle somebody's going through. And it's, that saying that everyone you meet them with kindness, because we're all going through an internal struggle. Struggles aren't apparent all the time. You can't necessarily tell when someone's struggling, because sometimes people are good at compartmentalization. Sometimes people have to show up and do a job. And that's why we should be meeting people with kindness, because struggles are not as apparent as some would hope for. So I think it taught me kindness. It taught me to be a little more empathetic, to assume that whoever you meet is going through some shit, and to meet them with kindness and a smile. And that's what I learned on that show. Let's see, I think we got another question here. Make sure I got them all. Let's see. Here we go. Tatum Temple. Oh, Tatum Temple. You've asked questions before. How are you? Drop some knowledge on gut health. Gut health is key. Gut health, our gut is our second brain, if not our first brain. All of our hormones are figured out in here. Messages to the brain are produced here. Our mood, our energy levels, so much of our processes begin in the gut. I'm not a doctor. This is stuff that I've read, listening to podcasts, books I've read, and people I've interviewed. Gut health is fucking vital. And, you know, it has a lot to do with your glycemic index. If you're spiking your glycemic index and getting like insulin pumping through your system, making sure that you can handle that sort of insulin. And, you know, also all the oxidative stress that we put our body through is in the gut. And these are things that spike inflammation. Most of our inflammation comes from the detriment we put our gut through. So, and when you're talking about gut health, you're talking about whatever you put in your body is going to determine how your gut reacts. And your gut reactions will set off different responses in your body that are either inflammatory or non-inflammatory. And we all want to stay away from an inflammatory system because inflammation causes most, if not all, disease. Inflammation is the root of most of our diseases that we have, especially in our American diet. You know, the causes of death, heart disease, and, you know, dementia's up there as well. Dementia being linked to diet, diabetes. These are things that are caused by inflammation in our body. Gut health, that's where you have to start. Start with your gut health. And the number one thing, you want to start simple. I think the simplest thing we can do instead of adding things is subtracting things. This is just my idea. I could be wrong. Take away things that don't serve you. Like, you know, packaged foods. Unfortunately, they're fucking delicious. I know. I fucking love a Fig Newton. You're like, what? Fig Newton, bitch? That's boring. Well, don't rain on my processed foods parade. I also love a Thin Mint. Have you read those ingredients? No, you can't, because there's X's and Y's and enzymes and none of it makes sense. It looks like a computer stroked out and wrote a sentence. Those are the ingredients in a Thin Mint, but fuck me if it's not delicious when you put it in the freezer and then put it on top of some delicious ice cream. God bless, but it shit is not good for you. You know, balance is key. Everything in moderation. But back to the thing when I said if you don't ask for something specific from the universe, you will not get a specific response. Same thing if you're like everything in moderation. Expect to get a moderate system. Expect to have moderate health. And that's it. I mean, if that's good for you, fine. If you live in moderation, you will have moderate health. There are those weird incidents where there's like people who smoke a pack a day and, you know, all they ate was cheese sandwiches and they live to 102. There's like 6 of those people. We have to stop using our drunk aunts and uncles as examples of health. They grew up in a different time and it really was only one person and it was really folklore. They died of gout in 67. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. But the reality is that however you eat is the life you're going to have. And I always say this to myself because now I'm conscious of what I put in my body and sort of realizing how I feel afterwards. I always say that food creates mood. And this isn't something that I'm creating, a sentence I'm creating. This is from what I've read and what I understand. Food creates your mood. And there are mood foods. There are foods you can eat that are directly correlated with feeling good and having a good mindset and being in a good mood. And there are things you can eat that can combat inflammation. And it really, I keep a little photo of anti-inflammatory foods. I keep it on my phone. I have it in my house here just as a reminder of the things to eat. And it's the things that probably most people are like, oh, fucking gross. But if you put it together, add some salt and pepper and throw it down the gullet, there you go. You got your nutrients for the day. Extra virgin olive oil, Himalayan sea salt, none of this bullshit salt. You get table salt or kosher salt, unless it's, you know, something that doesn't have the anti-caking agents in it, because that's just antithetical to what the salt's going to do. You got to have something that's a pure form of salt. Himalayan salt, extra virgin olive oil, wild salmon, walnuts, blueberries, leafy greens. Mushrooms are vital. G-bombs are the one thing I think of. Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. If you can get as much of that in your system, as many days a week as you can, you got a head start. Your gut's gonna thank you. But look, I am not, like I said, I'm not on this super strict life anymore. Your girl loves pizza. I fucking fucking love pizza. I want to make love to pizza. I eat pizza slow and fast. I eat it every different way. Sometimes I'll take the slice and I'll fold it up and shove as much of it as I can deep into my throat. Other times I'll take this triangle slice. I'll get a little crazy. I'll get real crazy. I'll fold the pointed part up and over the back of the crust, like some sort of slut that put her legs over her head, and I'll take a bite on the side so there's a piece of cheese and crust in every bite, because I'm a damn genius. You're welcome for that. But here's the thing about food and eating. To a certain degree, you can balance it out. To a certain degree, as long as you're not shocking your system with oxidative stress and inflammation daily, which a lot of us are, just on an environmental level, it's hard to avoid it. But you can have days where you make it up. And this is another thing I'll say about gut health that I've read. I'm not a doctor. Please don't take any of this as gospel. All of this is hearsay and conjecture based off of the things that I've learned watching, listening, and reading. Fasting is a quick way to reset your gut. And you can do it easily, intermittent fasting. The easiest way to do it, I think, is to stop eating as early as you can in the afternoon, early evening. Go to sleep. Just sleep through your fasting. Break fast. Breakfast is a break fast. That's essentially what it means. That's what it's about, is we're fasting at night. We're not eating when you wake up and have breakfast. You're breaking your fast. So if you can not eat as long as you can, stave it off in the morning, then you've reset your gut. You've let your gut process and digest and work through your metabolism the things that fuck it up. And this is a scientific sentence for you. But it can break down all the toxins and metabolize it and give your system a break. Your gut needs a break. And the other thing I'll say that's amazing for gut health for me is off of my fast in the morning, the first thing I'll do, I'll have lemon water with a little bit of salt, chug that, a whole glass of that, and then I'll do another one, a lemon water. I'll add ACV, that's white girl talk for apple cider vinegar, a little bit of honey and cayenne pepper. If you want to do it hot, it's probably better because you can have the honey be melted. But if I'm not using honey, I'll just use cayenne pepper and apple cider vinegar. But that's also gut food right there. That's gut bacteria. That's a prebiotic and a probiotic. It's going to build and sustain those healthy bacteria in your gut. But yeah, thanks for the nerd question, Tatum Temple. Don't forget, guys, if you want to ask questions for Dr. Peluso, you just go to my Instagram story on Sundays and Mondays. One of those days we post it. It's a slide on my Instagram story where it says Ask Dr. P Anything, and you can ask Dr. P anything. And if you're not on the socials, you can email us at jessimaepelusocomedy@gmail.com and have your questions answered that way. I hope you guys had a great time. I'm going to be adding another video to my Patreon page. I'm going to go through my mail. That's what I'm going to do. I get really interesting mail. So I'm going to open my mail with you guys. Very personal. So if you want to join the Patreon, that'll be on there next week. And also, there was one other thing I wanted to tell you guys. And it was fuck Lost City. Fuck that movie. Fuck you very much. Fuck you very much. Fuck you very much. Hope you guys had fun. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Don't forget to rate and review us on Apple, iTunes, and anywhere you can. Really, we appreciate the support and love hearing what you guys love about the podcast. And don't forget to submit those questions. I'll help you out. Okay? Healthcare is hard to find. Let me be your board uncertified doctor. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good week.